What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, the draft is over, kind of. Like, the main draft is over. So, when the draft is over and people who did not get drafted, they become undrafted free agents and they basically can get picked up by various teams. You're on the team, like on their active roster, but you're not in their final, 56 yet or 52 yet. But it gives you a chance to join the team, work out. Maybe you can make the team, maybe not, maybe practice squad. It's a good opportunity for people to just not give up on their dreams. So the Dolphins have unofficially added 14 unrestricted free agents. And I say unofficially because the way it works is the team sometimes announces that, hey, we're signing this person. And sometimes that comes with money. So we'll sign you and like guarantee you 75,000, mostly for like exclusive rights kind of situations. But sometimes players will say, "Hey, I'm intending to sign with the Dolphins," right? So it's not official yet unless there's money attached to it. But we're gonna work on these 14 as if they are part of the team. Now, I mentioned that I thought we should have done more at linebacker, more at guard. Well, of our 14, we picked up two guards, so those are depth picks most likely. They're going to be competing with Liam Eichenberg to see, hey, maybe you're the second guard in case of injury, maybe the third guard in case of two injuries. Good situation for that. We also picked up four wide receivers, which I thought was a big amount because we didn't draft any receivers, and I think we're pretty good at receiver, but you can always get more depth. Some receivers can double as special teams people. Some can just be like maybe a really tall receiver, or if you're really fast, you could be a special teams guy. A lot of reasons to get receivers. Of the people that maybe stand out as far as Brandon Adams, who was the UCF corner who we worked out here. Y'all know I'm UCF for life. He is one of the unrestricted people, and then Eugene Asante is a linebacker from Auburn, who I thought we could have drafted 6th, 7th round. We did not. Totally cool. Unrestricted anyway. Brought him in. Y'all know how I feel about the SEC, so let's do that. I think this is great. Like, I actually kind of wanted to pick up Shiloh at safety, but it didn't happen that way. It's all good. There's a couple of old linemen from Western Michigan who I think will also be joining. One's a tackle, one's a guard. I think that's about to happen, and maybe by the time this comes out, it would have happened. But at the time of recording, it isn't official yet. But I do believe that they'll be joining that list as well. So fortifying a team. This is getting depth. This is getting people for competition. This is, maybe people will get picked up at one position, convert. We don't know. This is basically just rounding out the team. I think we were very cognizant of the player positions we wanted. We picked up a cornerback and a safety as well. I'm all good with it. I think those couple that stood out are really good. As far as the receivers go, I don't know. I think if you're wide receiver 40 in the draft, I don't expect you to, come through and be like some game changer, but you could be a special teams all-star, and I'm here for all that. So, still fortifying a team. We're not done yet. Still building, but the draft is not officially over. And I'm sure the NFL is loving that because the draft made big ratings this year. Outside of the draft, we're getting to the players, right? So there are a couple guys that we were thinking about trading, Tyreek and Jalen Ramsey. It was maybe an idea that you would get traded on draft day, the day before the draft to get picks. Neither happened. And now all signs are pointing to Tyreek staying with the team despite a myriad of off the field issues. There was even a fake tweet that went out that said, Tyreek is open to being traded to a contender. And Tyreek himself jumped online and said, hey, there's a fake report. I'm here with the Dolphins. Doesn't mean it's true. I know June 1st is the big designation for kind of the free agent market because we let guys go after June 1st. We save money. So until June 2nd, I'm not believing anything. I do believe because we didn't draft a receiver, that kind of feels like we're all in on Tyreek for this year. I don't know about long term, but I think for this year, we're kind of all in. If we drafted a receiver in the second or third, or lost a third round pick, but second or fourth round pick, we had a receiver that plays Tyreek's position, I would be like, he might be out. The fact that we didn't even touch receiver tells me that we're not trying to fortify that position. The undrafted free agent receivers should not be competing with Tyreek for his job. So that's why I said the signs point to us bringing Tyreek back. Also, I think Tyreek's trade value isn't great. I mean, he's 31, off injuries, unbelievable amounts of off the field issues. He's still ultra fast, but he's not as fast as he was 2 years ago, right? Where it was like you got to change your whole defense for him. Now, yeah, you got to keep a safety on like looking at him, but you're not like Tyreek might kill us. That's not really where he is in his game right now. Still great, still probably a Pro Bowler, but maybe not an All Pro anymore. So there's just a little step down, and I think at most we would get a late round pick for him. That first, second round value is over, and I think the Dolphins feel like we might as well keep him and have a really good receiver than give him up for a fifth round pick in 2026. That makes sense to me. He's has tremendous value. He's also like, a brand on the field. Off the field, we know the difference, right? On the field, still fun. He's still doing backflips in the end zone. Like, I think he makes Tua's life a lot easier because even though he's not the version of himself he used to be, he still changes the defense enough to allow balls underneath, to allow other routes to open up. He allows Jalen to get second DB coverage instead of DB1. There's value to him. So I do not believe, barring something crazy happening between now and June 1st, I don't really see a scenario where we just trade him now. Because teams who, like Carolina, who needed receivers, they got two. And they probably have some unrestricted guys they signed to their team as well. But they got Tet and they got J.C. Horn. Not J.C. Horn. Jimmy Horn. And I think both of those guys are going to play. I think they're both good. And what Xavier Legette, that's probably their three receivers. So we thought that might be a big need. Washington, they're fine. I don't think any team is desperate enough to really give us a good value back for him. So if Tyreek balls out this year, though, it can maybe clean up the off the field stuff. Then maybe he can become, third or fourth round pick. We'll see. But I don't see him being the value that he wasn't before. So I don't really see him going anywhere. Now, I mentioned that we didn't really go heavy cornerback in the draft. We got a fifth round corner from Florida, James Marshall, right? And that was good because we thought he might. He's at best going to be DB 4 or 5 based on how our team currently sits, but we don't love our DB 1-2 situation. I still think Jalen Ramsey's going to get traded. So I know we didn't happen in draft night. That we kind of thought it was going to happen that way. It didn't happen, but I don't see him coming back to the team. The way it's been dragged out there, now there's reports that he's wanted to get traded for a while now. The team has talked about we're openly trying to trade him. You're talking to teams. I'm guessing next year draft compensation makes the most sense at this point. But I do think Jalen would be gone, and we do need to fill the void. So, though the free agent market, which we've kind of left behind, I think we're trying to build through the draft, and we didn't get the guys in the draft we probably wanted at the secondary position. So, we're reaching out to some veterans. Russ Douglas being the biggest. We know him as a menace because he played for Buffalo, and we hate all Buffalo players. So, to get one from Buffalo and bring him here, yes, maybe he can give us a little bit of insight on how to beat Josh Allen. But Russ Douglas is now being the most pursued. The management team and all these scouts are like, hey, we've been in communication with him. I'm guessing there's some vying for contracts and negotiation right now. He's a good corner, so I don't think we're the only team trying to talk to him. I do think he has options. I think he probably wants to stay in division, and the Dolphins have a big need, so I think he knows coming here, he's almost guaranteed to start. So being guaranteed to start, now that his asking price can probably go up a little bit, he can probably get the money he wants. I can't imagine it'd be more than a 1 or 2 year deal. But give me 1 or 2 years, that 10 to 14 million range is what I'm guessing. I get to start, play on a good defense. We've fortified the line a little bit better, so now maybe we can get a little pass rush up there. I think it makes a lot of sense for him to come down here. The only other option I could really see right now is Shaquille Griffin. And he's a little bit longer in the tooth, and he's been kind of a nomad. He's been on a bunch of different teams all around the place. However, pretty solid last year. And cheaper. He's not nearly as sought after. I think if you wanted to compare the two, I think Rasul has a higher ceiling, like almost guaranteed. I think even probably a higher floor. I think Rasul is just a better player. I think if you factor in contracts, though, Shaquille can probably give you good to slightly above average cornerback play for a cheaper price. Rasul can be, bubble Pro Bowl level performance, but he's going to cost a little bit more money. So the question is, like all the questions this offseason, how much is it? How much is it? And how much do we want it? That's been the question all offseason. We like a certain number of people. Like the reason we're not talking about Asante Samuel is one, his skill set doesn't necessarily fit our defense. Like we play more of a zone scheme in the secondary, and he's more of a man corner. I get that. But also, Asante wants to get paid. We all know it. And he also has come off a shoulder injury last year. Another thing, I think Rasul is probably not as high of a ceiling as Asante Samuel Jr. is, but he's going to be cheaper. I think he's motivated. I think he fits our scheme naturally better. So I think he's what we're going after. I'm hoping that he's willing to give some kind of pay cut, maybe add incentives to really make the contract worthwhile. So maybe 2 years, 12 million, but it can get up to 14, 16 if you get 5 picks, you make the Pro Bowl, if you play all the games. These kind of things can sweeten the pot a little bit and then lessen just our straight out of pocket cost. And maybe the first year fully guaranteed. So 2 years, 14 million, 7 guaranteed. Something like that I think would be in the range that we can handle. Anything more than that, I think it's probably too much, and I will go with Shaquille Griffin. But we'll see what he wants to do with it because he is in demand now because those corners started flying off the board during the draft. Once I saw Maxwell Harrison, I was like, oh boy. And it just started going downhill. I just started seeing, I had Darian Porter as a third round pick. He went to second, and I was like, oh no, no, that's not good. And then it just started getting worse and worse. So Will Johnson fell, but the rest of those guys got scooped up. So I do think we were kind of hoping to get one of those. We didn't do it. Now we have to work in the free agent market, and I think Rasul could be a good pickup for us. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Y'all have been killing it with the likes and subscribes and all that, so we really appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.